What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. We're gonna do something a little bit different today. This is gonna be a new series on my channel where I do my makeup and talk about culture, politics, anything in that regard. I will list all of the products that I'm using in the description below if you're at all curious. And I figured no better way than to kick this series off with why I left the left. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So I want to talk about why I left the left because I think a lot of Americans probably feel the same way that I do, but are scared to say it and they're scared to admit it. And I think that's part of the problem, isn't it? We are living in a time where we are too scared to express our nuanced opinions on extremely complex issues because we have been bullied into a one-sided narrative that is based on fear-mongering and fake virtue signaling. The left has cultivated an extremely vitriolic and toxic environment that breeds negativity and harbors resentment, all in the name of tolerance. It's ironic, isn't it? Growing up, I always associated being a liberal with being a good person. And while that sentiment may be nice at heart, it's not reality because the left's main agenda is to simply deny reality at all costs. Whether it's denying the fact that biological sex does exist or that white supremacy is the root of every evil in history, the left is living in a false reality that they want to force on to everybody else. One of my biggest fundamental issues with liberals is their inability to accept any other ideas than those that align with their exact narrative. This is indeed not, in fact, conducive to the tolerant, loving environment that they claim they want to create so badly. Ideas must be able to flow freely in a society, or we risk creating a communist atmosphere, which is another one of my biggest fundamental disagreements with the left. I believe in capitalism, and the left has created a direct liberalism to communism pipeline. I more so come from the thought that if everyone took advantage of the opportunities that capitalism presented, rather than constantly condemn it and simply give up on trying it altogether, everyone would be living a fulfilling life. It isn't usually a very easy ride to the top, no matter where you're starting from. Nobody is denying this, and nobody ever said it was going to be easy. But failing and grinding it out is part of the process. The left is so entirely out of touch that they literally think we are living in a hellscape here in America, when in reality, we are literally the most blessed group of people in the world to be living in America. And that ignorance is a huge turnoff for me when it comes to their political ideology and agenda. This is exactly why I say most liberals lack any real life experience. Because if they had any clue as to what it's like to grow up in a place where you literally do not have any freedom of choice, they would be grateful every single morning to wake up in America like they do. So I have a few major key points that I want to continue to address in this video as to why I have decided to leave the left. So the first is simply that the left is simply just identity politics. Democratic policies deal with minorities and poverty and their obsession with white supremacy. And I believe the left has come to a point where they truly hate white people. And I don't understand the point in this. The media and the deep state have convinced the masses that having privilege is a bad thing. And using this, they have fostered an oppression point system. The more oppressed you are, the higher you should be valued in society. And as a result of this, we are allowing reality to be denied and promoting communist ideas. As a solution, liberals have been completely brainwashed. The only way to help people out of poverty is through an endless amount of government aid programs. And while I don't have an issue with helping those that are less fortunate, from my many personal relationships with people of minorities who are poor, this is not the answer. What this does is it creates a system of enabling. Government-funded programs enable bad behavior and kill natural incentive. As a result, those in power end up keeping recipients caught up in the system, never allowing them to reach their full potential, while the government, the elite, and the corrupt continue to benefit off of these travesties. The best way to help lower socioeconomic groups is to help provide them access to opportunities opportunities that are rooted in capitalist fundamentals. I truly believe that most liberals are just privileged white people that lack any real life experience. And because of this, they subscribe to the leftist narrative, not understanding the unintended consequences of doing so. Additionally, I honestly find it quite offensive and blatantly racist to suggest that minorities and people of color are unable to do anything for themselves without constant handouts from the government every step of the way. People of color are not handicapped. They are just as capable as anyone else, and solutions that promote this idea are way more likely to make an impact than the former. When we look at families who have generational wealth, a term the left loves to rely on, we see that they have generally been able to attain this through capitalism. So rather than try to destroy capitalism upon a new socialist foundation, why aren't we identifying ways to help these people access opportunities of capitalism? All in all, I find that most liberals are addicted to labels to the point in which these labels, such as racist or sexist or transphobic, become meaningless and are literally just a cope for how little they actually know about the current American political atmosphere. So, number 2, I cannot support the left's obsession with sexualizing children. It's just weird, and I genuinely don't understand how it is so accepted and acceptable in our society today. It's out of control. There is no good reason why any children, the ages of 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 10, should be discussing sex or sexual identity, period. Sexual identity, by de facto, is about sex. There is no denying this. And these poor children go to public school, come out confused, and possibly even permanently sterilized, and their bodies mutilated. And for what? All for them to realize that they were conned into this way of thinking. They were the opposite gender, when in fact they were not. These kids wouldn't have these ideas if they weren't planted into their heads. There is clearly a sick agenda behind this indoctrination of children in public schools, promoting ideas that puberty blockers, hormones, and invasive surgeries are normal and reversible is sheer gaslighting. And it's at the expense of the most vulnerable group on the planet. I understand that there are people that truly suffer from gender dysphoria, but the rapidly growing rate of transgenderism in America is manufactured and it's not real. Trans is just Big Pharma's next big cash cow. They can't keep pushing opiates. They can't live off of the COVID scare tactics forever. And the average cost per trans patient is $3 million as a lifelong medicalized patient. I refuse to be on the side of history that allowed children to permanently mutilate their bodies and chemically castrate themselves. It's evil. I refuse to subscribe to the notion that this is normal or okay and should be accepted. And this leads into my third point, which is the erasure of women through the manufactured trans agenda. Let's get this straight. I will not be erased because Big Pharma wants to keep cashing checks. I don't care that you're trans if you're trans, but you will never be me, baby. You are not a woman. You are a trans woman. There is a difference. How can the left claim to promote feminism on one hand and then on the other hand subscribe to the notion that trans women are women and they should be playing on our sports teams, etc., etc.? It doesn't make any sense. And this is what the left does. They do not live in reality. They live in a delusional world that suggests you should never be offended and never be personally responsible for anything in your life. This ideology is not conducive to a meaningful life. The left operates on emotion. And while there is a time and a place for emotion, it does not override fact. Women are women, trans women are trans women. We are different. Trans women should not be in women's sports. This is just fundamentally wrong. And if you live in reality, you would know this, but the left does not live in reality, as we have said many times throughout this video. We as women have worked so hard to get to the place of acceptance that we are at today, and by allowing the idea that trans women equate to real women is enabling the inevitable erasure and demise of women as we know it. If you are a woman, this should scare you because it is a real imminent threat, which is just another reason why I had to leave the left, which leads right in to point number 4. Feminism and the promotion and celebration of promiscuity. Promiscuous. Celebrating meaningless sex in hookup culture is completely damaging to women's mental health. I obviously do not believe that men should get a pass on this either, but for the purpose of this argument, I'm going to be focusing primarily on the women part because we're talking about feminism here. The left's demonization of anything traditional is actually detrimental to everyone. Hooking up with many different people has been scientifically proven to have a negative effect on females' mental health. But yet again, the left is out here just trying to disprove reality. I swear that is their main freaking agenda, dude. And for what? There are many statistics that suggest women who sleep with more than 4 men are 50% less likely to get married. Don't let the leftist cults convince you that ending up alone and childless is acceptable. You can try to convince yourself of that, but you'll never truly be happy this way. Feminism was created by men to get more tax dollars out of the other half of the population that did not traditionally work. It is in women's biological nature to want to be a caretaker. And the more we try to deny that natural instinct, the more mentally unwell we are going to be as women. The left and the feminists don't care about you. They don't care about you as a female, and they don't care about your mental wellness, let alone your physical wellness. Don't let them convince you that having tons of meaningless hookups is going to empower you. It is not. It is literally only going to do the opposite, and it goes against your female biology. And while I always encourage women to have their own goals and aspirations in life, don't think that you have to climb a corporate ladder or be an OnlyFans star to be successful or happy. Being able to have children is one of the greatest gifts and biggest blessings of life. And the left will shame you for this, which ties right in to the abortion issue. As a libertarian, I believe that abortion is between you and God, not you and the government. But with that being said, liberals are out of control and out of their freaking minds with the abortion issue. Their demands have become just completely evil. The left wants to allow for newborn babies to be murdered on the operation table after having been given birth to. And that is just pure evil. And this is what they are gunning for right now. I cannot support this side of the political agenda. It's gone too far. Abortion should never be celebrated. This is a serious mental and physical health decision that will impact you for the rest of your life. Stop letting liberalism tell you that it's not. There are over 42 forms of birth control. Don't make this mistake. You should never have to make this mistake. Number 5, it's time. We have to talk about it. Gun control. Every American should have the right to own a gun. What liberals don't understand is this is literally for our protection. The Democrats always fall into the media and news cycle of mass shootings. But what's really going on is that we are getting dangerously close to a totalitarianism government style right now. And when that day comes, thanks to the left, you're going to kiss that gun as you point it. So I can't support the left when they want to get rid of all guns. They would be happy to get rid of all guns. And at the same time, they are happy to push for communism. So this is a sheer recipe for disaster that I will not be a part of. There is a reason why the Second Amendment was put into the Constitution. And they do this all the while always turning a blind eye to things like gang violence, which is constant, and crime that goes on every single day. I thought y'all cared about minorities. Only when it's white people involved. Got it. Who's really the racist? And lastly, the liberal cult. The left has turned into a cult. If you do not get in line and agree with every single part of their narrative, you are shunned out of the group. The left does not allow for nuance, and this is dangerous, especially when they are the ones succeeding in the culture war. The mega woke mob preaches love and tolerance, but simply cannot tolerate anything that does not follow their agenda. This is not real life. It's time to grow up. It's time to face reality. Time to understand that the government can't just magically print all the money in the world to fund your thousands of government aid programs. The money for these programs comes from us. You and me, liberal and conservative alike. It comes from us, the taxpayer. And it doesn't even serve those who benefit from it. Simply put, the left is perpetuating a literal biblical spiritual warfare, and I will not be on the wrong side of history. And that is why I left the left. All right, y'all, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I am excited to do more of these, and this was quite a basic look, but I just wanted to test the waters and see how this would go. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.